June is not only Pride Month, but also Audiobook Appreciation Month. So, what a perfect time to tell you about a queer audiobook I received from Netgalley. It's called Ignore All Previous Instructions by Ada Hoffman. If you're looking for a sci fi story that talks about the dangers of AI and creativity, censorship, queer love, and portrays art as resistance, then stay put. I think you're really going to like this book. This is an adventurous sci fi heist with queer characters, each trying to do what they believe is the right thing. We are following Kelly. Kelly is an autistic queer woman who works as a script supervisor for a major show. As a child, she created the character Orlando, which is now in her TV show. And Orlando is everything that she isn't. She is shy and timid and very meek. And Orlando is just outgoing and charismatic and brave. And frequently throughout the story, when she needed to be brave, she would pretend to be Orlando. She hears from an old flame, Rowan, who is a trans man that used to be called Am, and can't help but meet up with him. She has always been a law-abiding person, a real rule follower, but Rowan asks her for something that is illegal. He needs it to help pay for his hormones, and he is in debt to a very powerful person and thus needs Kelly's help. Kelly reluctantly agrees, and we follow two timelines. The current timeline when they're in their 20s and going on a heist, and their childhood timeline where we get to see their friendship bloom into a romance. We get to see some of the events, how they shaped their character, and what ultimately tore them apart. There are some timely discussions of AI and its use in creativity. We see how the language learning models and the algorithm, they can come up with responses, but they can't think. As a child, Kelly received a robot who was meant to teach her social skills due to her autism. But Am doesn't like how often the robot is constantly telling Kelly what to do. And so she constantly is rewriting the prompts, changing things, and trying to constantly outsmart the robot. I think it's easy to think that the future is going to be more progressive than it is now, but it isn't the case for them. Being queer where they live is not allowed. Their media is heavily censored, and they don't ever get to see themselves represented in media. Kelly and Am have to discover their queer identities quite secretly, and the only way that they can see any kind of queer media is if it's smuggled in. They can resist through art. So Kelly works for Inspiration, this giant media company. Kelly is actually told that AI is cruelty-free because back in the day, actors had to actually do those things, and with AI, they don't. Definitely not an argument for AI that I'd heard of before. She is not allowed to write the story on her own. She comes up with basically creative nuggets that then get the language learning models. They expound on it and add, but she is never fully in charge of the story. It is always a collaboration with the language learning model. Inspiration says that something should always be happening. You should never lose the audience, not even for a moment. And if that doesn't create the best art, oh well. It very much feels like a nod to our ever dwindling attention spans and brain rot. I really enjoyed this quite a lot, but one line kind of soured me a little bit, and I want to let you know what it was. Kelly is autistic, and consent is always very important to her. She has told Am that she doesn't want to be touched without consent first. And we even see a couple of scenes where consent is verbally asked and verbally given, and it seemed important to the author to include those scenes. So I don't know why she included this one. She was too far gone to remember to ask first, but Kelly didn't stop her. The reason it soured me is because I thought consent was important. Not only does Am not follow her boundaries, but it almost feels like she justifies that because Kelly didn't say no, that she gave consent. And that's just not true. It wasn't a deal breaker for me, this one line, but I wanted to let you know in case it's a deal breaker for you. Since I received the audiobook version, let me tell you about that. This is narrated by Nancy Wu. She is an extremely prolific audiobook narrator, and I love her warm, gentle voice. She did a good job differentiating between the characters and really brought this story to life. I will include a small sample so that you can see if you like her narration as well.
The day that Kelly Reynolds got drawn into her ex's life of crime had started out as a good day. A good day for Kelly followed routine. Her alarm went off at precisely 6 in the morning, playing an inspiration music track that had been tailored to her preferences.
If you're interested in a queer sci fi story that talks about the dangers of AI and censorship, I think you'll really enjoy this. If you like neurodivergent representation and fast paced heist stories, definitely pick it up. So tell me, does this one interest you? Are you going to be adding it to your Towering TBR? Let me know. And I will be reviewing more queer audiobooks soon, so don't forget to subscribe so that you can see all of those videos. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's have a chat in the comments down below. Happy reading!